Hi, all you lovely people of social media, Facebook in particular, and Instagram and YouTube. So basically, social media. Welcome to you to your bite-sized word of encouragement. This morning, I'm speaking to, or today, whatever time it is for you, I'm speaking to people who feel that they are stuck. They feel that they can't get breakthrough. They've got these amazing dreams and promises, and you got the scriptures, and you're doing everything right, but you're still in the same place, and you can't see any further. I've been there, I've done that. I've got hundreds of t-shirts saying, been there, done that. In the early days of serving God, where we knew we were called to something, but we didn't have it yet. We all we had were promises, and people would encourage us and prophesy to us, but we had this constant feeling of, is this really true? Is God really going to do these things that he said? And we just had to wait and learn, go through the process of being shaped and formed into who he needed us to be. And we're still in that process. But I can tell you on the other side of it, God is faithful. God is true. So I want to say to you now, this is what I want you to remember. I want you to get this picture, is that while you are in a waiting time for your breakthrough, your calling, whatever it might be, we can't see what God is doing behind the scenes. We have his word and we hear testimonies, and maybe we even have our own testimonies, but we cannot see. If we could see into the realm of the spirit and see God's hand moving and what he was doing and why it was taking so long, it would make it so much easier. But then we wouldn't need faith. We wouldn't have to trust God. We would just know exactly what was happening. And so faith is the currency of heaven. Our faith is what attracts God. Our hunger and our faith attracts God. And so we need to have faith in him. And our faith is not in our faith shouldn't be just in what he could do. Our faith is in him, in the faithfulness, just to believe that he is a faithful Father. That's where faith begins. But now we cannot understand or see what's happening behind the scenes. You have a promise, and as soon as that promise comes, you receive it by faith, and you begin to pray. You begin to wage warfare with the promises previously made, 1 Timothy 1:18. But at the same time, you can't see what's happening. So we have to understand that we're not meant to understand what is happening. We're just meant to have faith that God is faithful and he's going to do it. We can't see. We want to see the tangible things. We want to see God say, the reason this door closed is because I have a better one for you. And we believe it on the inside, but we cannot see it. Okay, I think I've labored that point. But remember now, there were stories in the Bible of, Jesus and Martha standing in front of Lazarus's tomb. And here, the greatest moment of pain in her life, but also what turned out to be the greatest miracle. She stood there right next to Jesus, and she said, when he said, roll away the stone from the front of the tomb, she said, but he's been in here, he's been dead for 4 days, there's going to be a smell that's going to come out of here. And all Jesus said was, did I not say to you, if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? And you know the story of Lazarus. Jesus said, come on, Lazarus, time to get out of here. And he came out. And so there are many people who feel as if they're standing in front of a closed tomb, like all their dreams have just been buried in there. There's no hope. And I want to say to you today, all that is required of you is to believe. Okay, exactly the same as Martha. The other one is when the Israelites were standing in front of the Red Sea. They'd just been liberated. They were on their way to freedom, and here the enemy is pursuing them. They could see the dust clouds and hear the chariot wheels, and in front of them is the Red Sea, an impossibility in the realm of the natural. They could not all walk on water, but God had a plan, and all that was required of them was to stand still, hold your peace, be quiet, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord your God. We've been in this situation, both situations, we've been there. How do you think I can speak to you about and encourage you that on the other side of it, if you will just keep looking to God, if you will keep the faith, don't let the sound of the chariot wheels pursuing you discourage you or intimidate you. It's called intimidation. And the devil wants you to give up and say, God has forgotten about you. God is not faithful. I want to tell you, he's faithful to his promises. If you have a promise, you stand still and see the salvation of the Lord your God in his timing. That's the problem. That's our problem. So the tension of the in-between is where things are being birthed in the realm of the Spirit, where you're standing on the banks of the Red Sea. And are you going to give up, or are you going to keep your eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith? Because when you keep your eyes on him, the things that God has said to you are being birthed in the realm of the Spirit. And all he wants you to do is believe, believe. So sometimes what seems like delay is just a pause before the great breakthrough. I'm sure the Israelites standing on the banks of the Red Sea would have felt like, oh, you know, they said this, we've been sent here to die. Many times they said, did you bring us here to the wilderness to die? It would have been better if we stayed in Egypt. And in this new season in the kingdom, where we're going somewhere new, where we've never been before, many people feel as if they're not giving birth to anything. God's forgotten all the promises. They may as well turn around and go back. I want to encourage you this morning. There are greater things coming. There's greater glory coming. There are greater works that will be seen. These things are promises in the Word. And so what seems like delay is just a pause. And this is where we stand our ground. Now I'm going to read to you Hebrews chapter 12. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, the people who've been there, done it, and they're on the other side, and they remember what God has done for them. Let us lay aside every weight. Don't let the weights, the hindrances, the disappointments of the past, the words of your own mouth that are hindering the move of God in your life, that lay aside those things. Don't be like Martha saying, oh, there's going to be a smell that's going to come out of here. It's taken so long. Nothing can happen. Nothing can change. And she was standing right there with Jesus. And the sin which so easily ensnares us, the sin can be unbelief. It can be hardness of heart that you've allowed to develop, or we allow to develop. When we go through these trials in life, don't let those things weigh you down. Let them go. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. And how do you run with endurance when you're so disappointed, you're so weak because you feel discouraged and hopeless? This is how you do it. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So today be encouraged. So whatever God has promised you, what feels like delay is just a pause. The tension of the in-between, of hearing a promise and getting there, is where the miracles are birthed, where the faith just increases, because you begin to believe. If you stand your ground, you begin to believe, wow, God is going to do what he said he's going to do. And I'm standing on the other side telling you, God is faithful. So have a fantastic day today.